Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video I'll show you how we can draw a different perspective of snowdrop flower, which is very important if you want to create all these flowers in a group. So in the first row I have shown you a little different kind of perspective. This could be little harder if you are a beginner, so you can start with the second row, which is easier for beginners. So let's start with the first perspective. So in the first perspective, the common thing that we need to create for every perspective that we have is to create a small green structure, the base of the flower. So you can create an U kind of shape, and then you can create a fine stem. Why I'm saying fine stem is because snowdrop has two different kind of stem in it. First is a fine stem wherein we can see a little outgrowth of leaf kind of structure, and then at the base we have little thicker stem. So something like this you can see in a snowdrop flower, and this is common across every flower. The only difference is you can keep the angle and direction of every flower in a little different way. So in this snowdrop we have 3 outer petal and 3 inner petal with center part of the flower. Because of perspective we are not able to see the center part of the flower most of the time. So in this particular perspective we are able to see 3 inner petals. So you can create a distorted heart kind of shape like this. So you can keep one bigger, one smaller, and one fine which is very less visible. So these are the 3 inner petals for this snowdrop. Now let's create the outer petals. So outer petals are more of a teardrop kind of shape, you can say. You can create it little pointed and a little bit oval in shape. So I'm creating 2 like this, left and right, and one is in the center. So because of the inner petals, the center petal is not fully visible, so it is hidden because of the petals which we have in between. And something like this you can create. So this one is the first perspective, and see how beautiful this perspective is, right? Wherein we can see the inner petals, outer petals, everything. And the difference between outer and inner petals is outer petal is more of an oval kind of shape, and inner petals are more of a heart kind of shape, you can say, but little bit distorted heart, you can say. And then you can trace it with the help of pen. You can do it with the normal ball pen as well. It's totally fine. I'm using size 0.8 needle pen. Now let's move to the next perspective. So in this one I'm creating an oval shape for the upward direction. So this flower is more facing towards the sky. So let's create the outer petal first. So I have created one more tilted towards left side, and then you can create one. So this one is more towards U, it is not behind, and then one I have created very smaller in size, and in between we can have very fine visibility of inner petals. So in this particular perspective we are seeing the outer petal better, that too only 2 petals, third petal is little less visible, and then little bit hint of inner petals in between. So you don't have to copy mine exactly what I am doing. You can have your own perspective, to be frank, because flower can have n number of perspective, and you can just use your imagination and draw it, or else you can just take a reference photo and try to create different perspective altogether. Now I have traced everything with the help of pen, rubbed all unwanted pencil mark, and now let's move to the third perspective. So in the third perspective we are able to see the center part of the flower as well. So I have created a fine round shape and then a U kind of petal. So this is inner petal, but it has a visibility of a very different kind because this is more tilted towards downward direction, and the base of the flower is also very smaller in size because of the perspective. And then you can have 2 more petals, which is again an inner petal. So this is more like a first perspective, but in the first one we can see the inner petal in a more different way, as you can see. And in this one we are able to see the inner petal, but we are also able to see the center part as well. So the perspective is little different and the shape of the petals are also smaller in size. And then you can create outer petal. So I have created one outer petal, then maybe we can create one more here, and one more we can create here as well. I think we should make it little smaller, and I have also given an fold into it. So when you create a triangle kind of shape inside the petal, you can get a fold. And the fine stem is overlapping the petal, so this is something also you can do, although this is just an example. And then you can have little bigger stem, and then you can trace everything with the help of pen. This time I am using size 02 mm needle pen, so that we can have some fine elements as well easily. Now see, these two are quite common. The only difference is we are not able to see the center part in the first one. In the second one, we are able to see the center part. Now let's move to the fourth one. So again, everything is common. Create a base of the flower, fine stem, fine outgrowth of a leaf kind of pattern, and a thick stem at the base. And then for the petals, now I have started with the bigger petals, outer petals. So I have created two petals left and right like this, and this one is tilted towards downward direction kind of perspective. And then you can create two inner petals, which is somewhat visible, not visible you can say, and then one more petal. So this is again like a first perspective only, but very different as compared to the first one, as you can see. So little variation in the outer petal, little variation in the inner petal, and little variation in the direction itself gives you a different kind of perspective altogether. Now let's try the last one from the first row. So this one is again more towards the sky. So I have created two petals like this. One petal is little bit visible from the side, and then you can have a small inner petal, or you can completely avoid it, that is also fine. And then you can do rest of the stuff like we are doing for all the flowers that we have. So these are the common things, so I'm not going to explain you. And then you can trace it quickly with the help of pen. So take all your time to do all these things. I'm showing you these in a speed way to save a time a little bit, but you can take all your time to do it slowly and gradually. And we are done with all the 5 perspectives, which is little difficult to be frank as compared to the second row, which I'm going to show you now. But before that, we can do a little bit of extra shading and detailing. So for the thicker stem, I'm doing some cross hatching. So cross hatching means creating parallel line and then cross line. So the closer these lines are, the darker shade you will get. So whenever you need little darker shade in your drawing, you can do some cross hatching around that particular area. I'm doing the same thing for the base of the flower to make it little darker, and I have kept the fine stem as is. So I'm not doing extra shading and detailing because I want to keep that area a little lighter. And then you can do a line between outer petals that we have, and you can do some cross hatching across the folded pattern. So for this particular flower, we don't have too many folds, but whatever you have, you can do some extra shading and detailing around that particular area. And then for the petals, you can do some fine lines with very soft hand. So we don't need to do it, we don't need to overpower those lines, just fine line in between the petal areas, and that's it. And you need to repeat it for all the flowers that you have. I'm showing you for a couple of them because I'm repeating the similar stuff, so I don't want to show you same thing again and again, but you can do it slowly, gradually. You can take all your time to do these things. Now when it comes to the leaf, you can create fine leaves, little longer and pointed. So leaves is something that I'm not concentrating in this particular video because I'm more focused on flower perspective. So for the leaf, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just creating little longer leaf and creating some more line and pattern into it to make it little darker. And we are done with all the perspective. For the first row, now if this is difficult for you, you can choose the second set, which I'm going to show you now. And these are for absolute beginner. So if you are an absolute beginner, or you are in hurry, or you just don't want to focus on too many detailing into the flower, you can try these. So in this particular row, we are only concentrating on outer petals, and if you want, you can have little bit of inner petals visibility as well. So the second row is more about different angle of flower, and all the three outer petals are more visible, and inner petals you can completely avoid, and then you can try different angles. So second one is more tilted towards left side, this one is more tilted towards downward direction. But as you can see, I'm not concentrating on outer petal, inner petal, those kind of things. I have simply created three petals, left, right and center. So that is something you can do, or else you can try a little bit of inner petal in between if you have little space available in between the petals. In the fourth one, we have little bit of inner petals visibility, and same ways you can do the fifth one as well. So this is very simple, so I'm not showing you everything in detail, because I think you understood it now, because we have completed the first row very slowly and gradually. So I think you can start with the second row first, and if you're comfortable creating second row, you can definitely go with the first row and you can do it easily. Now rest other things are common, like fine stem, then little thicker stem, little outgrowth around the flower area, and tracing everything with the help of pen, doing little bit of shading and detailing around the petal area and stem area and the base of the flower, like hatching and cross hatching. So those things you can definitely repeat what we did in the first row exactly in a similar way. And we are done with today's video basically, and I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys. And whenever you are trying to create a group of flower, I think perspective is something very very important. So I think we all should learn different perspective of flower. I have created many videos in the past for different flower perspectives, so I can give you a link into my description section. So if interested, you can definitely have a look around those videos as well. And I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys, and please do let me know if you have any kind of feedback for me. And thank you so much for watching.